But this is my very first freehand map attempt, and there's really two maps here. There'll be a map of the Mediterranean Sea, which will get mounted on black, and then there will be a map of Europe, or at least portions of Europe. The map of the Mediterranean Sea, and of course you got the Red Sea and Caspian up here, and north. I can't remember what that one is. This will get cut off right here for the map of Europe. And so what I've done is I've dyed the wood, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to share how I do this. I've never seen anybody do it before, but you'll notice that I've got the ghost of a second map on top of it. I really love the way that looks, and yeah, like I said, for the moment I'm kind of hoarding that. We'll see. Anyways, this is just about ready to pop it loose. The backside has been taped up right there. Backside's been taped up. It's dried, it's been sanded. You cannot sand these things if you pull them apart. So once you scroll saw them out, go ahead and put it back together upside down like a puzzle and tape it together. What I'm going for here is this flat black background and then the dyed water of the various seas of Europe. And you kind of have to imagine them all sitting there. They'll basically sit there a little bit and be attached with these big honking, well, I guess they would be vintage, like upholstery rivets. The big castle domed things. I got some really cool ones. So they'll be glued obviously, but they'll get a big old stud stacked in them as well. And I want them to just sort of pop off the black background. A little concerned my water is not bright enough, but we'll see. Here's the sample piece after it's been lacquered. So you can see the background map and the colors pop right out of it. So those will brighten up. And I'm using it's not a flat lacquer, it's a semi-gloss. It's the end of a can, so the stuff settled out of it. I'm not sure quite how to describe it. It'd be more flat than a semi-gloss, but is nowhere near as flat as a true flat. Mostly because apparently I've just been lazy on occasion when I was mixing it. But that's what she's going to look like. There it is, all done. I think that's just about the right number. Gives it that riveted look. The next thing is to build the picture frame. And this is a great excuse to burn up a whole bunch of those little scraps that you've been saving and build a large surround. On my first layer of edge banding, I'm going to go ahead and put a V-groove because, well, that to me just says old. And I'm using my Craftsman molding head cutter. Now, if you have one of these, and many of you do on the shelf because it cuts absolute crap, I did a video on how to clean them up. The grind from the factory is pathetic, and they make a horrible mess. But just a few minutes with a whetstone and it becomes a very usable tool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a V-groove in these things, and the reason I'm doing it is so that I can paint inside that V-groove. And I think I'm going to do a seafoam green kind of thing, and it'll be down inside that V-groove, and then of course you sand, and that removes all your excess, and it looks like three-dimensional pinstriping. So just go ahead and get them set up, get it cut. That was a little nerve-wracking because these pieces are narrower than the throat plate on the saw. But we did it. Never do anything you're not comfortable with, and don't necessarily copy what I do. Now I have the saw set to cut a rabbet along this side. So if we imagine this is the edge of the plywood, I want to have a lip that overruns the edge. Just gives it a nicer feel. All I need to do now is get it set to the proper height. Using a scrap as a gauge. To make sure it stays flat against the fence, I'm using a feather board. You don't have to be too careful because you're going to sand all that top off anyways. Ugly color maybe, but it fits well with the overall theme. Here we are working on the corner banding. So I'm just gluing and clamping. You can see I've only done 2 sides, and then I'll let them sit and set. More or less they're glued. Once the glue hardens, I can basically put anything I want in there, or I can leave it just glued. It's not like it's a structural application. So, map of many clamps. Now it's ready for a coat of lacquer. Well, I gotta brush it really well. Brush it out, clean it up just with a good dry paintbrush, and then it's ready for the first coat of lacquer, which is really the most important. It'll set all the dyes. Right now, if it got wet, who knows what could happen. All sorts of bad things could happen. But as soon as it's been set, as soon as it's had that coat of finish applied, we're good to go. So I'm going to go downstairs and spray it. First coat of finish. And that's basically what it's going to look like. Other coats might deepen the gloss, but nothing more than that. And there shouldn't actually be much gloss. It's totally damp right now. But you can see in that corner where it was a little thinner what it's really going to look like. I like it. I think it's good just the way it is. So, figure it's only a wall hanging. It's not going to take any abuse, so 2 coats probably. This coat ended up being a little thick because it had to go this direction to get that side of the little waterways, and then I had to go that direction to get that side of the little waterways. Combined it was pretty thick, so I won't need that a second time. Nice. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I don't often do art projects. I like the way it turned out. Here it is, essentially done. I wouldn't touch the field. I'm sure the field is still a little tacky, but we've got the ghosts of maps past in there. The Red Sea, Mediterranean, Black, Atlantic, North, and then whatever the heck it is up Finland and Norway. I can't remember off the top of my head. So the beading turned out nice. I like it. Gives it a much cleaner, professional feel compared to, say, just a plain wood frame. And again, all I did was cut the bead, paint it, let it dry, and then sand it off so I didn't have any. You don't even have to try very hard. Nice, nice. Once she hardens up, sign it with a gel pen in the corner, and we're done.